Hi everybody, and welcome back to Two Wrasslin Dogs Farms. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the farming aspect of what we do. We, through our nonprofit organization, the Northeast Bronx Community Farmers Market Project, we maintain a garden in the Bronx at Preston High School, and we use it as a learning garden during the summer for a program for 5 to 6 year olds. And we also use it in the fall with the food studies program at Preston High School. So because the school had closed down, we decided a few weeks ago to take a drive down to the Bronx. We dismantled the whole unit. We set it up here in our dining room. And we're growing vegetables not only for our garden at the school, but we're also growing vegetables for Dig Farm in North Salem. And they are one of our farmers market farmers, and they also supply food pantries in Westchester County. So we're helping them out by growing some plants for them. And I'm also growing some plants that I was planning on getting in here at our farm, which is more of a permaculture experiment. So let me just walk you through what we have here growing. So on the top shelf, this 72 cell tray is filled with sweet basil, and it's also filled with Chinese pink celery, which I was growing for the children's garden because I figured that would be a really fun thing for the kids to see. The next flat is filled with Swiss chard, spinach, and eggplant, and these are all going to be going to Dig Farm, as well as all of the tomatoes and peppers that are growing in this 72 seed tray. Now on the next level, I have one 72 seed tray that has 36 rhubarb plants. Now the rhubarb plants I was actually starting back in January with the goal of planting them here. Because rhubarb is a perennial vegetable that once you plant will keep coming back forever and ever. And it grows to about 36 inches diameter, and we use rhubarb to make a really delicious rhubarbecue sauce. So we'd like to start growing our own rhubarb for it. And then the other cells are filled with some wildflowers that I'm trying to naturalize here in our meadows. Things like wild bergamot and some nasturtium that I'm going to plant in my culinary garden. These 4-inch pots right here, these are all filled with echinacea, lupine, and lavender. More plants that are herbal medicinal plants that I'm planning to grow here. And this tray is for Dig Farm, filled with more basil and assorted lettuce. Everything on this bottom tray are all of the tomato and pepper plants that we already started a month ago that are in their 4-inch plants. We did a little transplanting demo the other day on our video. This is the result of it. So these will soon be going to Dig Farm to get into their greenhouse. And then this last little tray over here is asparagus. Now asparagus is another perennial vegetable that I used to grow in the Bronx at our original farm location, and I had started these also in January with the hopes of planting them here on the farm at the front entrance to the garden. Now I also have some other seedlings that I had started upstairs because I had a little 24-inch grow light spot just for my own personal gardening. And I have some more basil up there, fennel. I'm also growing feverfew, which is a medicinal herb. And I'm also growing St. John's wort, which is another medicinal herb. So those are going to be getting planted out on the farm. And when we're ready to start planting some of these things here, we'll be showing you those in a video. But that's not going to be happening for probably about a month. It's still the end of April here in Southbury, Connecticut, and we actually had a little snow this morning. So we're actually about 2 weeks behind the Bronx, which is a little adjustment that we're getting to. And I also have over here a little radish microgreen set up. And these have started growing. Now, if you saw a video we did a few days ago, we harvested these, and we are ready to harvest these again in a few days. Now, I want to just talk to people. I know that what's going on right now, a lot of people are thinking about doing home gardening, and I totally support that. But please be aware of a few things. If you are living in a urban or suburban environment, a lot of our soils are not very healthy. And if you're going to start digging things up, you may be digging up soil that has a lot of heavy metals in it. So do a little research about your property and what it was beforehand. Otherwise, you may consider doing raised bed gardening. Raised bed gardening is an investment because you have to buy the materials and fill it with soil. But if you're planning on gardening for the long term, this is a great way to get involved in gardening. Another thing that people are doing lately is getting involved with community gardens. Now, I know from when I do a lot of tabling for the compost project, people are always complaining to me about how hard it is to get a spot in the community garden. I'm going to tell you why. People who start community gardens are organizers who work really, really hard to build the gardens and secure the space, and they're constantly under the stress and strain of possibly losing their spaces and fundraising and etc. So if you approach a community garden and they do not have a space for you, the next thing you need to say to them is, well, may I volunteer? And if you volunteer at that garden, you will be the recipient of vegetables from your fellow community gardeners, and eventually, if you prove to the people who run the garden that you are committed to this, you will be given a space. So that's the secret to community gardens. Another thing I want to discuss is foraging. A lot of people are getting involved in foraging, and it's something you've got to be really, really careful of. First of all, join a few of the foraging groups that are on Facebook. And the other thing is get a few guides, because the most annoying thing for the people who run these foraging groups is the constant ID questions, when you could very, very easily go to apps like PlantSnap and identify some of the simple plants that are out there. You may also want to consider getting some really good guides. Now, I'm going to post the names and authors of every single one of these books on my Facebook page, to Wrasslin Dogs Farms. But I have found that all of these are really great group books for IDing and also for how to use the edible wild plants that you forage. But please remember, do not do this willy-nilly, because all plants are edible, but it doesn't mean they aren't all poisonous, especially when it comes to mushrooms. And the other thing you want to remember is sustainability. If you're going to forage, you cannot forage and wipe out a whole area. Things like ramps and fillhead ferns are becoming very, very popular now, and people who don't know what they're doing are digging them up by the roots and removing them and completely destroying the ecosystem in which they grow. So if you're going to forage, you forage just a little bit. Always remember that. Last thing I want to say is remind everybody, please join a CSA. It's a great way to support your farmers. Message me if you want more information on how to access CSA. Farmers markets are working really, really hard, as well as CSAs, on how to run this year with proper social distancing requirements. And I also want to remind everybody that the SNAP and EBT benefits are available for people. Sign up for it, and they are able to be used at farmers markets and also at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. So that's going to be it for today. I will see you all next time, and remember, subscribe to this subscribe to this YouTube channel, Chris Napolitano, and please subscribe to our Facebook page, to Wrasslin Dogs Farms. Have a great day, stay busy, and stay healthy.